second day of road trip adventure, aka photo reportage. And I believe that it will be nice on the beginning of the video for you to see which monuments I visited today. And we are back. So today the real proper adventure start. First of all, I would like to mention that like 30 years ago there was a civil war on the Balkans, and basically three countries were involved. I mean, that was the one country that dissolved into six countries, five, and then later six. So like it's a huge mess, okay? And I come from one of those countries, and at the beginning of the reportage I generally never kinda had that in mind, that some people might not feel very friendly towards my idea to roam around the countries. We'll get to that part during this series. So, first of all, the day 2. It started, I slept like a baby, but in the morning I woke up very early, and I had like a farewell committee waiting for me outside, and it's kinda strange, but for me it was cute. It was very early, like maybe, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning, but those horses were like just staying around and walking and eating grass, and you know, from time to time took a peek at me like, what is this guy doing in our backyard? I tried to take a few photos of them, but they, the moment I pick up the camera, they just spread out. And the moment I put the camera down, they just come like form a little herd. So, okay, they don't want to be photographed. I sit on my bike and start my journey into the neighboring country. I entered Croatia almost immediately because I was sleeping in the border town. Then I stopped into town of Osijek to fill up the tank. And after that, I continued my journey towards small village of Podgoric. And in that village of Podgoric, there is a hill and a monument on top of that hill. And the shape of the monument kind of reminds me of an eye with strange wings. When you look at it, and if you watched the Lord of the Rings, the movie, right? It looks a bit, it kind of resembles to the like Eye of Mordor, but it looked a bit more friendlier than this one. At the first point, I couldn't find the road that leads to the monument because there is no road signs or whatever. But I see there was like a pond, like a tiny lake, and I saw across the road, like there was a restaurant or something like that. And I took my bike, but since I was in the ex-enemy country, right? I kind of parked my bike facing the fence, right? So if I kind of was thinking that if on the first possible sign of trouble, I can just sit on my bike and, you know, like put the throttle and get out, just in case, right? I parked the bike and I met the guy there. And asked him, excuse me, can you direct me to that monument uphill? And he was standing next to me, and he said, I'm not from around here, I'm actually from totally other town. We're organizing here a wedding between a man from Czech Republic, and the bride is from Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. But when a best man comes, maybe he knows how to direct you to the monument. would you care to sit for a drink or something? At the first moment, I was kind of like thinking, should I accept it or should I go just to try to find it on my own? But like I was in the mood to give a fortune a chance, right? And I said, yeah, sure, coffee will be nice. And he said, are you sure you will not get a beer? Well, I'm driving on a motorcycle, I really shouldn't drink alcohol, but coffee would be great. And he said, okay, coffee it is. Feel free to sit. And I sat there, he brought the coffee, and we kind of chat a little bit, he had a few laughs, like atmosphere kind of get a bit more friendly, and the best man comes, and the best man said, well, actually, I really don't know how to get there, and from where do you come from? And I said, I'm coming from Belgrade, and he said, really? Great! I mean, let's sit here, and I'll bring some beers. And I was like, but I'm riding the motorcycle. No, you have to drink some of our beers. And I was like, okay. The three of us sat there, we kind of had a few laughs, and then few other guests came because the wedding is about to start, and I spent there like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and it was great, and we had lots of laughs. For example, they said that they are watching the Serbian national broadcaster when they're watching the games that Croatian national team is playing, because Serbian broadcasters have much less commercials during the game, so they can focus on the game. And I said, well, that's kind of interesting, because we in Serbia like to watch Croatian national television if they are broadcasting our team's play, because you don't have that much commercials, so we can focus the game. So we kind of found a lot of common ground, and it was extremely friendly atmosphere, and it was great. Of course, at one point I had to continue my photo reportage, my journey, and I stood up and say, well, thank you for the great company, it was unbelievable and it was great, but I have to continue my journey. And they say, wait, why don't you stay at the wedding? And I was like, well, thank you guys really for the wedding. Yeah, I mean, the guests will arrive very soon, and the bride and like everybody. And I was like, okay, thanks guys, but my friends are waiting for me, and I really need to go to drive like for several hundred kilometers, and I'm already behind my schedule. And they wish me best of luck, and I sat on my bike, and I did manage to find the monument on top of that hill. This monument is dedicated to the people who fought against the occupiers. I cannot say the proper word because of the YouTube police, right? But we all know who the bad side was in the World War II. To the people and the partisans who put up a great resistance during that period. Then I sat on the bike, and my goal is to reach Banja Luka in Republic of Srpska during the night. But I had one more stop. When I continue ride on a crossroad on a traffic light, I step on my bike on one side, and there were two motorcyclists on the other side of the crossroad waiting for the green light, and I just waved to them and they waved back to me, and all of us just turned into the same direction, and we kind of make a small group out of 3 riders, like spontaneously, and we were riding for I don't know, few dozen of kilometers, and then I kind of showed them the monument that is called Stone Flower. And I said that I'm gonna take a turn there and visit the memorial complex. And of course, if they want to, they can join me. We went through the gates and parked on the road. There is a track that leads to the very monument. That monument is big. It is made out of concrete, of course, and that track that leads to that monument is made out of wooden parts of the railroad. And those wooden parts from the railroad track were original parts of the railroad that was used to bring the people to the concentration camp Jasenovac. The memorial complex, as you can see, is made just with the train composition that was actually used to bring people to the concentration camp, the monument to the Stone Flower, and it is bare land, and it was intentionally made like that so you cannot hide from the sun, so you can have a glimpse what people who were jailed there felt during the period.
I was trapped in the world losing gravity. It's a big mistake for a good temper like me. You read my scars and you found all my history. I'm afraid you've got control and you cut my wings.
The concentration camp Jasenovac was very similar to those at Poland and Germany and across the Europe. Very similar to the Mauthausen, Dachau or Auschwitz. The exemption was that Jasenovac was guarded with Croatian soldiers that belonged to the Ustašas. But not every citizen of Croatia at that time were supportive of Ustašas and fascist regime. There are a lot of Croatian people who went to fight against Ustašas and to join the forces with people from Bosnia, from Serbia, from Slovenia, Macedonia, Montenegro, to fight against the Germans and the rest and their allies. After Jasenovac, I continued my journey towards Banja Luka. Fellow biker nicknamed Little Dragon waited for me there. But when I entered Bosnia, Republic of Srpska, my motorcycle, it was a bit bumpy road, so my motorcycle kinda had like those bearings wasn't tightened enough, so it has a little how should I say, my forks went a bit up and down. It wasn't much, but millimeter or two, but when I was hitting the bump I could feel it. I traveled all the way down there. I met with a Little Dragon, and he called. I told him about my kind of a issue that I had with the bike. And he said, "No problem. I have a friend that is a motorcycle mechanic." And he called him, and he said, "No problema, bro. We will fix it." We sat on the bike, go to his friend's place, and he fixed that in front of his garage where I put the bike to sleep over. And that was the first time that headlamp I got from the sponsors come in handy, because it was in the middle of the night when I got there. So, you know, like that little headlamp was the only true proper light source that we had at the time. That day kind of changed everything I felt the day before when I started the journey. And it was feeling kind of promising. I guess this is the end of day 1, 2, and there are more days to come. So, if you liked it, subscribe it, and hit the comments. What is your opinion about those monuments? Are they good? Are they ugly? Would you like to visit them? And I guess this is all for today's video. I'll see you next time.